can't go in that gray area. You can't live your life in that gray area. The whole society's going gray. You got to go clear. You got to go clear. You got to decide up front what you're going to stand for so you don't fall for the wrong things. What are your non-negotiables? It gives you self-esteem. It gives you conviction. It gives you resolve. It gives you clarity. It's easier to make decisions. You got to keep the gray out. Thank you all for having me back. How many of you have been to one of my presentations before in the past? All right. Well, you know, we keep it real. We keep it real. Not here to try to give you a pep talk or motivate you. You're already motivated or you wouldn't be here, am I right? We're going to talk about not how to get you going, but how to get you going faster and how to maybe not stop going by getting in your own way, which is one of the topics. It's a main topic we're going to talk about today. I got in from California last night. Beautiful day today. How many of y'all are from California? Anybody? All right, right. I mean, we got some good news going on out there. If you want to talk about positives, we got the fires kind of under control. That's a win. That's a win. We're arresting shoplifters again. Whoever thought that would be a thing? Whoever thought that you would have to put a special measure on the ballot to actually lock people up for stealing again? But I think it's much better to lock up criminals than to lock up toothpaste. What do you guys think? I think that we're on to something. How many of you from this area? I love this area. I went to high school. I went to high school out in this area in Arlington, and no one would remember me there. I didn't get good grades. I didn't play sports. I wasn't very popular. I don't know how many of you kind of had that experience in high school, but you know, you kind of get to a certain point in your life and you look back. How many of you kind of feel like maybe you had that experience, but right now you're kind of getting the last laugh? You're getting the last laugh a little bit. It's like, you know what? I never have had to know anything about an isosceles triangle or the circumference of that circle. And no one has ever asked me at a job interview. I've never had to know Millard Fillmore was the 13th president. I mean, we don't have to worry about that. Well, we're in a different kind of school today. This isn't a school you have to go to. This is a school you all want to be at. This is a school you want to come to so you can become more, so you can add more value, to where you can become more valuable, to where you can earn more valuables in return. And you're going to hear some dynamic messages and speakers during this time, and I'm blessed to be able to spend about 70 minutes with you talking about how to get out of your own way and how to have your best year ever because you get out of your own way. It's interesting when you see people and you listen to their stories and you watch their trajectory, people that have been through a lot that give up. There's a difference between being through a lot, giving up, and being through a lot and getting stronger, wiser, better because of it. Would you agree? But some people give up. They quit. And they act like there's been this vast conspiracy to make them unsuccessful. They surmise that every time they get close to the top of that ladder, somebody is there to knock them down. They get close to the finish line and somebody tackles them and prevents them from success. That's simply not the case. We get in our own way by making bad decisions and developing poor disciplines, and they accumulate over time, and someday it shows up. Doesn't always show up overnight. There's an accumulating effect to good decisions and bad decisions. There's a compounding effect to good disciplines and the absence of discipline. And eventually things catch up with somebody and they knock them down and they hold them back. We're going to talk about 11 ways how not to let that happen to us. Now, you may be in your way in some of these areas I'm talking about already. Not about fault, it's about fixing it. But if you don't face it, you won't fix it. If you don't acknowledge it, you won't change it. So whatever your go-to excuse may have been throughout your career, throughout your life, some people are known for having this go-to. Whenever things get tough, whenever they fall short, they whip out their black belt and blame. They whip out their black belt and blame, and they are well-versed with all the excuses for why they're not where they should be. We got to give that up to go up. Whatever it might be for you, you got to give it up to go up, because that's a big way to get in your own way. But I'm going to share 11. They're not in any particular order of importance. Some of them you may never have a problem with. Some of them might have held you back for a long time. You might be dealing with some of this stuff right now. And you're going to be really happy that you were here today and maybe get that boost and those tools you need. So you guys ready to go? If you're ready, say I'm ready. I'm ready too. So let's talk about the first way that we can get out of our own way. And I would just say to make money a byproduct, not a focus. Make money a byproduct of what you do, not a focus of what you do. When I was young, Sean told you just a little bit about my background, but my family had a restaurant business that went broke, and I was young. I never went to college. He kind of talked me out of going to college to work in his restaurant, and then the restaurants went broke. And I started selling different products door to door. You needed to make a living. Two of them were insurance products. They were little $5,000 burial policies in the worst part of town, knocking on doors and then collecting the premiums. And so all I wanted was money. I was laser locked. I've got to make some money. I'm living in a house. I've got no furniture. I'm sleeping in a sleeping bag. I'm not eating right. I chase money and I chase money, and I never had any money. I never really was thinking about other people. I never really was thinking about the value I could add for them. I never really was thinking about becoming more valuable so I could add more value. And I started to shift my focus. I got into the car business. I had a friend say, you might like selling cars, and I started making about the customer. I started making it about being more valuable to the team and how I could learn more, how I could become more so I could get more. And when I began to focus on becoming more valuable, I didn't have to chase the money because the money started to chase me. And if money is your focus, you will always lose that race. If you're chasing it, you're chasing it, you're chasing it. But if you will make money a byproduct of adding value, a byproduct of becoming more valuable, a byproduct of becoming more people, it's going to come. It will chase you down in amounts you never possibly imagined. Too many of us are chasing the money. Chase the right skills, chase the right habits, chase the right attitudes, chase the right disciplines, and the money starts to chase you. So let's get that in the right order, or we get in our own way and we never end up where we could possibly be. Jim Rohn said it very well. He said, to get more than you got to become more than you are. You don't just become more by showing up every day. Just because you show doesn't mean you grow. It's studying your craft. It's putting in the work. It's developing the skills. We're going to talk about some of those things here. It's really putting the needs of the people you serve first. And then you watch that reciprocal effect start to kick in and start to enrich you. Make money a byproduct of what you do, not a focus of what you do. If you focus on adding value, the money chases you. Second way we get in our own way, I'm going to suggest this. Now bear with me on this a little bit. I'm going to say, follow your gifts, not your passions. If you follow your passions, you could be getting in your own way. If you follow your passions, what if you got dumb passions? What if you got people that got a passion for pizza and pot and porn. You think chasing that's going to help them get to where they want to go. And this is some of the worst advice I hear people who speak at commencement addresses give. Oh, just follow your passion. What if you're no good at your passions? Make your passion a hobby. It's okay to make your passion, but don't try to make a living off of a passion if you don't have a gift for it. You become great by developing your gifts, by leveraging your gifts, the gifts God has given you. He's given us all different gifts and leveraging them. Now, if you're truly blessed, maybe you have a passion and a gift for the same thing. Many people don't. And they chasing that passion. I have a passion for singing. Yeah, I'd laugh too. You must have heard me. I laughed. I got a passion for singing. The problem is, I can't sing. Now people say, yeah, but you could get better at it. Oh, well, I don't have any natural ability for it. So if you don't have a natural ability for something, you could go get some coaching. You could go get some help. I could get a voice coach, and she could teach me some techniques that make the sounds that fall out of my mouth a little less offensive. But they're not going to help me become great at singing. I have no gift for it. I have no talent. There's no wiring. Now, some of you right now may say, well, I just don't have a passion for what I'm doing. I've never met anyone in my life that was great at what they did or that had an impact doing what they did that said that. If you're great at what you do and you're having an impact doing what you do, you will have a passion for it. You will be on fire for it. And I learned this in the car business. When I went into the car business, I didn't have a passion for selling cars. Maybe some of you don't have a passion for selling insurance now, so stick with me. I didn't have a passion for selling cars. I needed a job. But I got in it, I realized I'm pretty good at this. I can talk to people. I take my time with them. I make it about them. I'm honest. I'm available. They send me other people. If I worked on my skills, if I got some structure in my day, if I developed my skills, if I improved my knowledge, I might really start to be able to do something with this. And I started making money. And I started to change what I wore and to change what I drove. And my family, we changed where we lived and we changed how we traveled and we changed what we ate and where we ate. And let me tell you something, I got very passionate about the car business. Why? Because I developed skills that helped me feel really good about doing it, and I was helping a lot of people in the process. You do not have to have a passion for what you're doing right now. You just need to get great at it and watch that passion start to ensue. Where you will mess up, in my opinion, is starting to feel before you give yourself a chance, this isn't my thing, I don't have a passion for it, and not sticking with it long enough to see what's inside of you that it might be your thing. Some people quit before they figure that out. Follow your gifts. We all have them. And then a lot of people have gifts, they still mess up. They don't have discipline. So you need to structure your gifts with good disciplines, with good routines. You need to protect your gifts with character, because character protects talent. You need to fuel your gifts with hunger. Some people have a lot of gifts. They don't have the energy to power a toy boat in a bathtub. You got to set the chair on fire to get them out of it. So you can have gifts, but you got to have that fire inside of you, and that's on you. If you're not motivated, that's your fault. Is it okay to tell you that? Is it all right if I'm direct with you today? How many of you know I'm kind of direct? So I got to just tell you, those of you that haven't been here before, if I say something in here that offends you, that is completely your fault. You should not be that soft. You should not be that soft. Don't let people have that much power over your life. The truth hurts, it doesn't harm. The truth hurts to protect you from harm. If you listen to the truth and you change, it will stop you from getting in your own way and suffering that harm. And so we got to have the hunger, we got to have the discipline, we got to have the character. Follow your gifts. What are they? Some of you, I believe some of you with the numbers of people in this room, some of you are one skill away from the next level. You're one better attitude shift away from the next level. You're one discipline away from the next level. One habit away, either getting rid of a bad one or starting a good one. You're this close. And when that kicks in and you start to see the difference you make and you start to see how you feel about yourself and how the life you live starts to change, you are going to be passionate about this regardless of how you feel about it right now. Follow your gifts. Develop your gifts. Don't prioritize your passions unless your passions are aligned with your gifts. Pursue your passions and your hobbies. Have hobbies to pursue all that stuff you ain't that great at, but you enjoy. But put your career and line it up with your gifts. A lot of people waste a whole lifetime before they figure that out. Chasing their passion, chasing their passion, chasing their passion. Never get that dream. Well, you were never wired to get that dream to begin with. You were wired to get that dream, but you never went for it. We can't go there. The third thing I want to recommend that'll help you stay out of your own way is to do new, stupid things. I think it's important to do new, stupid things. What I want to talk about on this point, trying new stuff, taking some risks, making some changes. I also want to talk about learning from the old stupid things, because there's a difference between ignorance and stupidity. Sometimes we try something, it doesn't work out. Ignorance is defined as lacking information, training, or knowledge. We didn't know better. We just didn't know better. And we tried it, we took a shot, good for us, did not work out. So we want to get stronger, wiser, better because of it, and then take another what? Take another shot. Take another shot. Now, if you do a stupid thing, and it doesn't teach you something, and you do it again, is it still ignorance? It's not ignorant anymore. You could plead ignorance the first time you didn't know better. If you know better and you still do it, now it's stupid. If you look at the definition of stupid, it's lacking intelligence or common sense. If you learned a lesson and you don't do better because of that lesson, you got to keep repeating that lesson. You got to keep retaking that test if you don't pass the test. Now, if you keep doing stupid things, it's not even called stupid anymore. It's called moronic. If you look up the definition of a moron, it is a very stupid person. So that's like stupid squared, stupid to the second power. So you don't want to go there. So I think it's okay to make some mistakes and to make a lot of them if you're trying a lot. People who try a lot, who take chances, who make changes, who just roll the dice and take that mature risk, they're going to screw up. But if they learn from it, they're going to grow twice as fast as those who stay in their box so long it becomes a casket. And you got people in the box, they are buried in a comfort zone, they are calcified in a mold because they did a stupid thing, couldn't forgive themselves from it, they're afraid of the critique that comes with it, didn't learn from it, and now they just live lives passively. I tell my wife, I said, I take pride in doing new stupid things. Now, because I try a lot of stuff, some of them, they're not going to work out. They're not going to work out. And so, as Wayne Gretzky said, you're going to miss 100% of the shots you don't take. And so we gotta take a look at how we handle our mistakes. I'll tell you this, if failure is fatal in your life, you're going to miss your life. You're going to stop trying. You're going to stop risking. You're going to stop betting on yourself. You're going to probably under-challenge yourself. And one day you're going to get there and you're going to get racked with the pain of regret. I swear I do believe it will be the sweat of some people's deathbed that wakes them up to the fact that they missed their life. They were so busy maintaining. They were so busy tweaking. They were so busy playing it safe. They missed who they were designed to be and how they were designed to live. And I'll tell you what, I have learned, and how many of you know people who do the same stupid things again and again and again? Don't point if they're next to you, but raise your hand. Okay, and so you kind of know. Have you noticed how people who do the wrong things again and again and again, life starts to impose a stupidity tax on them? Life has this stupidity tax. It's like if you don't learn it the first time, it starts to tax you. You lose reputation, you lose time, you lose momentum, you lose opportunities, you lose influence. Take shots. If it doesn't work out, let it happen for you, not to you. How can you get stronger, wiser, better because of it? You can't, dang, if everything is a matter of life and death, you're going to be dead a lot. So you got to learn that when you take a shot and you hit a wall, you got to learn to bounce, not to splatter. To bounce and to come back stronger, wiser, better before. Because I believe the more things you try, the more likely you are to have that breakthrough. But if you stop trying, you could fall short of that breakthrough and never even know it. Do new stupid things. Don't keep repeating the same stuff. That stupidity tax life's going to put on you is brutally expensive. Let's talk about number 4. This is big. Some people live their whole lives, they never do this. They live their whole lives. They're not going to do what I suggest to do here. The younger you are when you do this, the better it's going to be. Now, it doesn't matter if you're not young. You can't go over and start over again. You can start today and create a new end. So I'm just saying it would be more of an advantage if you were young. But determine your non-negotiables early and manage them daily. You have got to have that clarity in your life. What are your non-negotiables? There's 4 key areas I think you got to have non-negotiables in. If you don't determine your non-negotiables, you are going to live your life a mile wide and an inch deep. You are going to live your life immersed in compromise. You are going to be your own worst enemy. How many of you agree sometimes we're our own worst enemy? Raise your hand. That's what we're talking about today. I believe we all carry our worst enemy within us. We should fear no person more than ourselves. We should fear no person more than ourselves. And one of the ways to make decision-making easier, to stop you from blowing yourself up and self-destructing, is determine your non-negotiables. Now, there's 4 different areas I think you need non-negotiables in. What is your non-negotiable vision for yourself? What is your why? What have you got that you want so bad it takes not doing the right things off the table? It's like you don't want to do it, you don't feel like doing it, you'd rather do 100 other things, but there's something you want so bad today you can't not do it. That vision is worth fighting for. That vision lends inspiration into today. You got to have that clear vision. You got to have that guiding star, because sometimes today is tough. Sometimes today you spend in the muck and in the mud, and it feels like you're not going anywhere. But if you have that vision to borrow credibility, to borrow inspiration from, you keep going. What do you have that not getting in your life is off the table? Don't know how I'm going to get it yet. Don't know how long it's going to take to get it yet. But I do know this. I will go all in and do whatever is required to get there. You got to have that clear vision. It may change throughout your life, honestly. Visions change. But what is it right now? What's your why right now? Why do you get up in the morning, and why should anybody else even care that you get up in the morning? You better be really clear as to what that reason is and that overall goal that pulls you forward. Your next non-negotiable, by the way, non-negotiable means not subject to discussion or modification. This isn't granite. This isn't granted. I don't waver when it gets uncomfortable. I don't waver when it takes too long. I don't waver when I'm doing gets unpopular. I don't waver when what I'm doing seems to cost too much. That's off the table. Second aspect of your non-negotiables, your values. How many times you see people trade their values for valuables? Your values, your core values. These are the behaviors that are non-negotiable in your life. These become part of your personal DNA, whether it's integrity, whether it's urgency, whether it's personal growth, whether it's teamwork, if you want to add value to more people, whether it's serving. Whatever your values are is up to you, but you got to know, or you're going to be making compromises. In your pursuit of numbers, you will sell out your values to get there if you haven't determined them up front, and you self-destruct. You just got in your own way. How many times have we seen it happen in politics, in religion, in sports? Highly talented people, all the gifts, doing a lot of the things we're talking about, and they trade their values for valuables, and it all gets erased, sometimes overnight. What are your values? Your core values. You don't need a certain number of them. I had a guy tell me one time, well, I got 14 of them. I said, well, you know, there's only 10 commandments. You might not need 14 of them. Vince Lombardi said it's hard to be aggressive when you're confused, but you need a handful that cover a lot of ground, a handful that define who you are no matter what the cost, without excuse. So you got your non-negotiable vision. Now you start to get clarity in your life. Now you start to figure out every day what I got to say yes to and what I got to say no to. See, clarity gives you power. Clarity helps you make better decisions. Clarity helps you know where to spend your time and where to allocate your resources. You need clarity. Clarity helps you hold yourself accountable when you get off track. You can't hold yourself accountable without clarity, because the question's accountable for what? You need this to grow. Your third set of non-negotiables, your non-negotiable daily routines and processes that you're going to follow. Certain things you're going to do every day, because they're going to take you someplace better than where you're at right now. What are your non-negotiable habits or processes? You got to have them. You can't just make life up as you go along. You just can't get up every day and shoot from the hip and operate out of instinct and just hope it all works out well. There's certain processes you got to follow. Now, some of us don't like processes. I understand, but we got to realize you don't have to love a process. You don't even have to like a process. I'll take that pressure off of you right now. You just have to love where the process will take you and do it every single time. You gotta love. If you're trying to lose weight, you probably don't like the process. I never liked it when I was trying to lose weight. You got to eat stuff you don't like, start eating stuff you stop eating the stuff you do like, and get up and exercise. But I love where it took me. So I subordinated my dislike to a better future. I said earlier, some of you are one habit away from the next level. Some of you got some detrimental processes in your life. Some of you have processes, but you cut corners. You don't like it. It gets too hard. It takes too long. Let me tell you something about processes. Some of you know I work with athletes. I've been a mental skills trainer for 3 different college basketball teams, how to get your thinking right. Here's what I can tell you about processes. They're not punishment. They're protection. A process is not punishment. Your daily routine is not punishment. The systems you got to create and follow are not punishment. They are protection. They protect you from bad habits. They protect you from missing your numbers, from missing your life. They protect you from getting in your own way and self-destructing like we're talking about today. Don't have to love it. Don't have to like it. Have to love where it'll take you. So what are your non-negotiable routines? From the minute you wake up in the morning, I'm going to talk about this later in one of my points. Your processes should start from the second you wake up. You want to build momentum from the minute you wake up in the morning. You can't slop your way through the first 2 hours of a day doing less than your best, just getting by, and walk into a call or an appointment and somehow think you're going to switch from sloppy to excellent. It's not going to be there for you. The fourth aspect of non-negotiables, your daily max act. You know what a max act is? M-A-X-A-C-T. M-A-X-A-C-T. A max act is a maximum activity. It narrows your focus on priorities. Out of the 40 things you may have to do every day, if you could only do 4. Now that'll narrow your focus. If you could only do 4, what would they be? Those 4 are the most predictive of getting you to where you want to go. Now you know what to say yes to. You got clarity. Now you know what to say no to. You got to get great at those max acts. You got to schedule those max acts. If you get off track, you got to get back to those max acts. And then tomorrow you got to get after them all over again. And they're non-negotiable. And it doesn't matter if you don't feel like doing them. Doesn't matter if you're tired. Your dreams don't care if you're tired. Just so you know, you do them again and again, and you do them every day. And every day means every day. How many of you are familiar with that acronym, EDMED? It's been in some of my books, EDMED. Every day means every day. EdMed, baby. EdMed, EDMED. Some of you are not living EdMed and you're missing your dreams. Every day means every day. Doesn't matter how I feel about it. Doesn't matter if it's convenient. I'm going to do it anyway and I'm going to feel better because I've done it. Max acts, processes, routines, whatever you want to call them, your values and your vision. Pretty good place to start for your non-negotiables. And by the way, I like to talk a lot about processes, and I should mention this too. You don't ever do a process just to do it. Don't just do it to do it. Don't just do it to get through it. Don't just do it so you can say you did it. It's doing it with excellence. It's giving all you have to what you got. Some of you have habits and routines, but you're not giving it your best. You're just ticking a box when you're done with it. It's not getting through it, it's getting from it. I had a friend, I think I hurt his feelings. Wouldn't be the first time. He said, I've been going to the gym 3 days a week for 3 years. He was bragging about his what? His habits, his routines. I've been going to the gym 3 days a week for 3 years. I said, well, nobody can tell. What do you do when you're there? What do you do when you're there? I mean, you're doing it to do it. You can tick a box. So you're doing it to get through it. Do you stop when you start to sweat? Do you just watch TV? Do you talk to people? Or do you actually put in the work? So it's about doing it really well. I'll tell you what, though. You know why this is hard, gang? We're going to spend a little time on this one. Because we're talking about establishing some absolutes for your life right now, aren't we? Absolutes. You know why this is unusual? Because society's gotten away from absolutes. People don't like to talk about absolutes anymore. Society is suffering because of a lack of absolutes. No right, no wrong, no winning, no losing, no success, no failure. Everybody gets a trophy. Everybody's a winner. So we don't have absolutes. We're not raised with absolutes. But now I'm telling you that doesn't matter. You got to create them for yourself. How many of you live in places where they're doing away with absolutes? Like in California, they stopped prosecuting crimes. And then they wondered why the crimes went up. In California, I hope it's not that way where you're at. They got schools where they stopped keeping score with sports. Because they didn't want kids to feel like they lost. It's like, well, here's a wake-up call, young man. You end up with the lowest score, okay? You lost, okay? You're the loser. Now, you don't become a loser until you quit. You're the loser, so get motivated not to be that anymore and come back smarter, wiser, and better than before. But we do away with absolutes. We got school systems that have stopped using failing grades because it might hurt kids' self-esteem. So they want everybody to feel like a winner. So again, no right, no wrong, no success, no failure. And now, this is going to bother some of you. What I'm going to tell you now probably going to bother some of you. So I also need to tell you, if it bothers you, I don't care. You only got to endure me for about 40 more minutes. So if I hurt your feelings, now don't go letting your feelings hijack your future. Now, you got churches doing away with absolutes. This is how bad it's gotten. You got churches doing away with absolutes. They don't even talk about sin anymore. They don't talk about what's right or what's wrong anymore. They do a lot more feasting than fasting. There's a lot more comfort than conviction. You got churches where they let people get behind the pulpit and pretend they're being principled and actually justify sinful behavior. Gang, you can't go in that gray area. You can't live your life in that gray area. The whole society's going gray. You got to go clear. You got to go clear. You got to decide up front what you're going to stand for so you don't fall for the wrong things. What are your non-negotiables? It gives you self-esteem. It gives you conviction. It gives you resolve. It gives you clarity. It's easier to make decisions. You got to keep the gray out. When you got your non-negotiables, you can say, no, I'm not going to say this. No, I'm not going to do that. No, I'm not going to go there. That's not who I am. That's not who I want to be. So if you're going on without me, because I'm not going to compromise my character to make you comfortable. I'm not going to compromise my character just to have your company. I would rather be alone than in bad company. And there's a conviction that comes with that keeps you on track, that helps you be a successful person that lasts, and not someone who becomes arrogant or entitled or corrupt because you think your success somehow excuses the need for you to do those things that got you there anymore. And it happens all the time. A lot of talented people in the room. Character protects talent. Your character protects talent. What are your non-negotiables? If you couldn't answer clearly in those areas, you got an opportunity to do better. You got an opportunity to create more focus, more energy, more urgency. What is your vision? What are your values? What are your max acts? They may change from day to day. And what are your habits, processes, and routines? They're going to help you become the person you were designed to become. That's what we got to look at. This is a big one. Determine your non-negotiables. Settle them early, manage them daily. Settle them early, like as soon as possible, manage them daily. Once they're settled, you don't have to keep revisiting, you need to manage them daily. Doing the right decisions day in and day out to get you to where you want to go. The fifth way to stay out of your own way. This is a big topic today. It's a buzzword. People like to talk about balance. They start to hate their job, they start to hate their career because they feel like they don't have enough balance. And they beat themselves up, and they might be really successful, but they still feel bad about themselves because it's like, I just don't have balance in my life. So the fifth way to stay out of your own way is you need to have a healthy definition of work-life balance, or you will always feel bad. You will always feel like you're falling short, and it will actually stop you from stretching and succeeding. Most people believe balance is spending equal amounts of time in different areas of your life. I want to be balanced there. Spend a certain amount of time at home, certain amount of time at the gym, certain amount of time with my friends, certain amount of time in the workplace. I don't know about you, but if that's how you're going to define balance, you're going to miss it most of the time, because rarely does it work out that way, especially when you're achieving. Especially when you're achieving. See, I define balance as a sense of fulfillment in whatever life arena I'm in, regardless of how much time I spend there. regardless of how much time I spend there. I want to go all in. I want to be where my feet are. I want to give all I have to what I got. I may not have a lot of time there, but I could still have an impact there. I can still feel fulfilled there. Because if you think balance is somehow spending equal amounts of time in all these areas, it will stop you from digging deep and being a great achiever in certain areas. I will tell you, all 16 of my books I wrote, I was not in balance, if that's your definition. I spent a lot more time in that study, doing that research, a lot less time with certain people, a lot less time in certain arenas. But I'll tell you what, when I was in those arenas, I was there. I was locked in. And every time I got promoted, if a certain amount of time you're going to spend somewhere is your definition of balance, every time you get promoted, every time you start a new business, you're going to feel out of balance. Because you have to dig deep there. You have to give more there. All 13 of my belts that I've earned over the years, when I was training for those rank promotions, I was not in balance in so many other areas of my life because I had to dig deep to do something significant. I had to make trade-offs. I had to give up to go up. So if you don't have the right definition up front, you're never going to meet that expectation. And the number one reason for self-anger is not meeting expectations you've set for yourself. So you're going to be down on yourself. You're going to beat yourself up. So let's talk about it. Is balance really a certain amount of time you spend doing something, or is it how you spend that time? Which do you think is going to bring you greater fulfillment and impact? Let's say you believe balance is spending less time at work. You think balance is getting away from something. So you're going to not put in all that extra work you need to early in a career, and you're going to spend more time at home. I want more balance. But if you're sitting there on your computer and you're just playing video games, and you're deciding who you're going to start in your 3 fantasy football leagues, and you're not even having a conversation with your family, you're not having an impact, you're not creating memories, you're spending time there, but what are you putting in the time? Nothing. It's not fulfilling, they're not fulfilled, you're not having a lot of impact. You might only have 2 hours at home, man, but if you're there, if you are really there, if you will not be somewhere physically and somewhere else mentally, that's one of the number one causes of stress. We're one place physically, we're another place somewhere mentally. Be where your feet are. Give all you have to what you got. That's fulfilling, it's high impact, and you're going to have more balance there. Now, could you get better at what you do? Torah, it doesn't take as much time to do it. So you can have more space in your life for these other life arenas, of course, and you should. Could you become more efficient with your time? So you can carve out additional amounts of time in different areas of your life to go all in. Yes, and you should. But what I'm saying is ultimately balance is not about the amount of time you put in, it's about what you put into the time. Go all in wherever you're at. Now, if you can spend a lot of time there and go all in, that's a home run. But I'm saying don't beat yourself up when you're trying to achieve, trying to make a name, trying to make a life, trying to take care of a family, trying to do something significant because you don't have all these equal compartments of time spread out evenly in your life. It's not realistic. It's not going to get you to where you want to go. But when you are in those other arenas, dive deep and just totally be there. If you don't start with the right definition, you'll always fall short of it. If you don't start with the right expectation, you'll always feel bad about yourself for somehow not living up to it. I'll say it for the third time. Give all you have to what you got. The key to balance, 2 words, be there. Wherever you're at, be there. When you are at work, be there. Give all you got to that appointment. Give those people the gift of your attention. Perform with just complete excellence. When you're at home with that family, be there. When you're at the gym, be there too. Don't be like my friend. I don't know what he did there for 3 years. He wasted a lot of money for 3 years. I think he got fatter in those 3 years. I really don't know what happened to him. But he was not there. He was there physically. He was not there emotionally and mentally. Does that make sense? You got to look at balance the right way. You're going to be a high achiever. You're going to be way out of whack with how you spend your time from time to time. And I just want you to know that comes with the territory. You got to dig deeper to go higher. But whenever you're in those other areas, give all you have to that area. Let's talk about our 6th way to get out of our own way, stay out of our own way. Let your struggles, because we all got them, let your struggles make you better, not bitter. Oh, bitterness. Bitterness is a poison. We take it in on the inside and it starts to show up on the outside. You can tell bitter people. You can look at them, you can tell. And sometimes people get bitter because of what life throws at them. Would you agree? Life throws a lot of the same stuff at a lot of us, right? How many of you been through stuff at one point in your life, right? I mean, we have 100%. Now, here's the thing. I believe you're in one of three situations. You're either going through a struggle now, you just come out of one, or you're getting ready to go in one. And that's kind of how life works. So you can't always avoid the struggle. I mean, we're not asking for it. We're not saying, boy, I wish I had a struggle right now. But it's how you deal with it that it's going to determine whether you get better or whether you get bitter. And so this is a fact of life for all of us. It applies to all of us. We got to figure out how to pull this off. Struggles make you stronger. Struggles, that's where character is developed. That's where mental toughness and resilience is forged. You don't get those things forged lounging around in a hammock in Tahiti. Those things are forged in the pit when it's tough, when you got no momentum, when it doesn't seem to be going your way, but you decide to keep going. You don't know the next 100 things you got to do to get out of that situation, but you keep doing the next one right thing now, and then the next one right thing now, and you keep moving, and pretty soon you're out of that valley because you didn't quit. That's where you get tough and resilient. That's where you start to believe in yourself. That's where you start to believe what you need on the inside to get to where you want to go on the outside. Struggles make you stronger. So I'm going to say you got to kind of embrace them. You got to use them the right way. You got to make them happen for you, not to you. What can I learn from this? Here's a question I ask when I'm going through a struggle. How can I make the pain pay? You got to learn how to make the pain pay. You got to make the pain pay. I teach my athletes, make the pain pay. You just lost that game. You just lost the ring. It doesn't feel good right now. What can you learn from it? How do you get stronger, wiser, better because of it? How could you have been more prepared? What do you need to improve at? Where can you grow? You're not going to grow without struggles. You look at the Bible, I don't know how many of you read the Bible. The Bible says Jesus learned obedience through suffering. Through suffering. What would we expect for us? We're going to have to learn obedience, and obedience is the path to blessing. So if you want those blessings, you got to be obedient. Where do you learn it? Not when it's easy. We throw obedience away when it's easy because we don't think we need it anymore. Goes to our head. We do what's right on our own eyes. Where do we get obedient? Back when we're in that pit. Back when it's tough. Back when there's no more margin for error. That's when we got to get back on track. That's when we got to get back connected. You're gonna come out of that valley different than you went in. That's what the valley's for. But you don't want to come out bitter. And some people do. And it poisons them. Bitter is a poison pill from the inside out. How many of you know people, bitter people in your life, and you can see it on their face? I mean, you can see it on their face. I'll give you an example. I don't watch much television. I was on the computer today, though, reading about that horrific plane crash. And out popped one of these pop-ups from an excerpt from this dreadful morning show. Where these angry women are on that show all the time. They're just angry women. They're angry women. And it's like they're bitter women. They always got a list of grievances, and they never got anything nice to say about anybody. And they're always criticizing something, and always complaining about something. And what's that show? What is that show? Okay, so you know what I'm talking. Everybody knew, isn't that crazy? See, bitterness, you can spot it. I'm talking about the shrews from the view. That's what I'm talking about here. And you look at them, and their face is all bound up, and they're talking over each other. And what's crazy, one of them's name is Joy. You wonder, how's that working for you? I think her last name is Les. I don't know, but it's like, and on one hand you think, boy, the parents missed the mark on that one. But then maybe the parents knew it's like the only way she's going to have it in her life is if we put it on her name. That's the only way it's going to happen. And that's what bitterness will do to you. People are talking about you like I'm talking about these people because we can all identify with that. You know, when you see people like that, you see ladies like that, you know 3 or 4 things about them just immediately. It's not being judgmental. You're being discerning. It's like, I know you got 3 cats, you got 2 shrinks, you got 1 friend, you got no man. I mean, that's kind of how you feel. But that's where it's going to take you. See how I don't watch much television. I can't take that stuff. They just popped up for 2 minutes and I'm ranting on. I had to write this into the speech today. I wasn't even part of my speech. But it got me thinking about stuff. I have a lot of affirmations that I read over, and some of you have read my affirmations in my books. I think affirmations are important. I think affirmations, if you don't know what they are, it's a positive statement you make about yourself, even if you're not there yet, to rewire your mind in a certain way. I've got over 50 affirmations. I got a lot of issues, so I got like 50 affirmations. And I read them as part of my morning mindset routine. And one of them is something I shared with you a minute ago. Things don't happen to me, they happen for me. I've got to make the pain pay. I'd love for you to embrace that affirmation for your own life. If you have a problem with feeling like a victim when things go bad, if you have a problem blaming or making excuses or getting bitter because of the stuff life throws at you. Life throws stuff at us to give us a chance to grow. You don't have to like it, you got to work through it, and you're different at the other end of it. It will make you better if you don't quit, if you don't blame, if you keep going. Let your struggles make you better, not bitter. It's a big one for a lot of folks. Number 7, boy, this one kills your focus. A lot of people do this today. I think social media makes this very common today. You've got to avoid comparison traps. You got to avoid the comparison traps. Always comparing you to someone else. Always comparing you to someone better than you, or comparing you to someone not doing well as you, and that just shifts your focus from what you can control. You got to get away. There's 3 types of comparison. 2 of them are wrong. 1 of them is really healthy. Let me tell you the first wrong one. Comparing yourself to people who appear to be doing better than you are. And this will rob your joy. Comparison is the thief of joy. Maybe you have worked like crazy to get to where you're at. And you have overcome things, you've been through those struggles that I just talked about. And you're feeling good about yourself. And then you're looking at this other person, and maybe their numbers are better. Maybe their house is bigger. Maybe their clothes is nicer. And all of a sudden, despite all you've done, all you've been through, all you've accomplished, you feel worse about you. It is a trap. In that respect, comparison kills contentment. It will rob that contentment right from you. That's the first wrong, comparison. And then social media makes that worse, because people post all these lies on social media, try to make them look like something they're not, you know, and we see that and we buy into it. I mean, some of those people were born on third base, they think they hit the triple, and they're gonna put it up there, make you feel bad about you. The second wrong comparison is looking down on someone that's not maybe where you're at, not doing as well as you're doing. That has nothing to do with the person you are. You got to look at someone else to feel good about you. What's that say? It doesn't say anything about them. That says a lot about you. And when we're looking at someone who's not where we're at, it doesn't kindle, it doesn't kill your contentment anymore. It kindles complacency. It kindles cockiness. We're looking at them, we're better than they are. We can get complacent, we can get content, we can let up, because we're way ahead of everybody else. And we may be, but we're never gonna be where we could be, because we let these people give us the wrong comparison. We also get cocky. We can get full of ourselves. Oh, this is common. Looking down at them, talking about them, dismissing them. You don't know what they've been through. You don't know their story. And we're gonna look down and we become the center of our universe. We get the disease of me. It's like, man, if you do that, you gotta get over yourself. Everyone else has. You are not the center of the universe. That job has already been taken. You can't get in to that type of comparison. The only legitimate comparison, 3 words: you versus you. I'll add a 4th word: you versus you, baby. That's the only comparison that matters. It's the only comparison you can control. You can't control the breaks someone else gets, who they know, the talent they have, how hard they work. What you can control is I can be better today than I was yesterday. I can have a better attitude in this situation today than I did yesterday. I can have a better daily plan. I can have a better routine. May not be a great day, but I can get better than I was yesterday. Can't always be successful. Can't always be successful. I can't always get better. I can always get better if I'm actually looking at it, if I'm working at it. And if I compare me versus me, my habits, my discipline, my disposition, my attitude, and it may be something simple. Somebody cuts you off in traffic yesterday. How many of you got a little road rage from time to time? Like I still suffer for it a little bit of road rage from time. So somebody cuts you off in traffic, you want to go into full commando mode. You're going to put that steering wheel between your knees so you can put your shoulder into that horn, and then you can hold up both hands and show them that they're number one. Okay, now maybe that's how you handled it yesterday. And now today it's like I didn't feel good about how I handled it yesterday. So today somebody cuts you off and only one hand goes up. Well, that's not total victory, but that is a win. That is a win. That's better today than it was yesterday. It's never, the journey is not about perfection, it's about progress. It's not about perfection, it's about progress. Vince Lombardi said attaining perfection is impossible, but as we chase it, we can catch excellence. We can continue to progress. If you're holding a meeting today, you're going to do it better than you did yesterday. If you're going on a date with your spouse, you're going to be more engaged. You're going to put that phone away. You're going to be where your feet are. You're going to make it about that person. You're going to give them the gift of your attention. Maybe the last time it was all about you. You're going to do better today. You're going out on that sales call. You're going to be more engaging. Ask more questions. Build more rapport. Be more persistent. And you know what? If you really embrace the you versus you, it's hard for complacency to get a hold on your life. Because if you're honest with yourself, you know there's always a lot of ways to get better. So every day is a new adventure. Every day is a new challenge. Every day you have a chance to come in and prove yourself over again every day. But you can't do that if you're getting psyched out looking at people doing better than you, or full of yourself because you're looking at people not doing as well. You versus you. That's the only worthy comparison. Don't fall into those other two traps. It'll kill your focus and you'll get right in your own way. We got a couple more. Number 8, the 8th one I want to talk to you about. To stay out of your own way, you got to put in the reps. Put in the reps. Repetition. It's a workout term. Put in the reps. In every profession, there are a handful of skills you got to get great at. Not 100 of them, but there's a handful of them. And you don't get great at something doing it occasionally. You don't get great at something you avoid. You get great at something you have practice at again and again and again. You got to put in the reps. A lot of us have abilities, they're not skills yet. You're not going to get to the next level till that ability is a skill. An ability is the capacity to perform a task. I could try to set an appointment. I can overcome that objection. I can try to close that deal. A skill is the ability to perform a task particularly well. And what takes an ability to a skill is repetition. There's no shortcut. You got to put in the work. And I'm not just talking about putting in the rep for the sake of putting in the rep. Perfect reps. Vince Lombardi again said, practice doesn't make perfect. Perfect practice makes perfect. If you play golf, and you hit a bucket of balls during your practice, and you have a flawed swing, and you leave this meeting and say, well, Dave says I got to put in the reps, and you start hitting 4 buckets of balls instead of that 1 bucket, but you don't fix that swing. That's not perfect practice. Are you going to get better, or are you actually going to get worse? What's it going to be? You're going to get worse because you are reinforcing the wrong technique. You are reinforcing the wrong habit, and now it becomes a bad habit. You got to put in the reps. I learned this in the martial arts. After I passed my first degree black belt test, trying to earn my second one, Sensei said, now you get to pick a specialty. You get to have a little option here. And I wanted to learn weapons. I think weapons, very, very practical. How to take them away from people. They put a gun or a knife in your face, at your head, at your back, whatever. And then how to fight, like with a knife, if you're outnumbered. How to fight with 2 knives, if you carry both of them. And so I thought, well, that's practical, because if I'm outnumbered, I never have run very well. I'm not going to start at 63. But if I know what I'm doing with a couple of knives, yeah, you can start dropping people. And it's like, hold them accountable. You can hold them accountable. And it's like, okay, this is good. So he said, now, Dave, he said, through our years of working together, there have been techniques we practiced until you got right. He said, these are the high-stakes techniques you got to practice until you can't get it wrong. Whatever your key skills are, setting an appointment, overcoming an objection, asking for a referral, closing for a deal, do not practice that until you, quote, get it right. You've got to practice that until you can't get it wrong. Only when the muscle memory kicks in, when you no longer have to think about what you're saying, when you no longer have to think about what you're doing, now the tension is gone, now you're loose, now it's flowing naturally. That's where it gets perfect, like every single time. But if you have to think, you overthink. If you overthink, you get tentative. If you get tentative, you lose confidence, and you lose momentum, and it gets too slow. You got to put in the reps. People don't like to practice, but there's no shortcut to it. And so think about the 4 or 5 things you're using a lot that's going to take for you to really become exceptional at, to get to where you want to go, to that next level. You got to work at it again and again and again. And don't tell me it's getting redundant. Well, Dave, I just role-played this script 100 times yesterday. It's getting redundant. Until you're perfect, it's not redundant. Do you understand that? Until you're perfect, it's not redundant. You'll never be perfect, so it'll never be redundant. So keep doing it until you can't do it wrong. You don't even have to think about how you're doing it. You got to put in the reps. I'll tell you this too, if you're inconsistent in some areas in your life, it's probably because you're not very good in those areas. Gang, I want you to listen to me now. There is a connection between confidence and consistency. Most people miss it. If you're more confident doing something, if you feel better about yourself when you do it, if you get praise when you do it, if you get a good result when you do it, does anybody have to talk you into doing it? No, you are naturally consistent there. You want to do it again and again and again because of the result you're getting. If you feel bad about yourself when you're doing it, if you get criticized when you're doing it, if you get a poor return when you're doing it, you will avoid it. I guarantee you the person that is not good at phone calls is always avoiding phone calls. They got to put in the reps. You will always avoid the things you're not comfortable doing, so work through that discomfort. I worked with a player one time on the Wisconsin team. He was our big man. He was strong. He was big in the paint. He could have drawn contact if he wanted to. You guys know sports. You know what I mean. Draw contact. He could have drawn those fouls. What's the advantage of drawing fouls? You get up to the what? You get up to the free throw line, and that's where games are won or they're lost. And he always, you could see him pulling back. You can see him almost avoiding the contact, was probably doing it subconsciously, didn't even realize he was doing it. So I looked at his lifetime free throw shooting percentage. It's 50%. Now think about what's in that young man's head. Every time he's at that line, 50% of the time he fails. 50% of the time he feels bad about himself. 50% of the time he lets his team down. 50% of the time he gets booed. 50% of the time he may get criticized. How anxious was he to put himself in that situation? I told him the first thing we need to work on, we need to put in the reps. We need you to want to be at that line. Have a friend that's on the Milwaukee Bucks. He's 90+% from that line. He wants to be at that line. He succeeds 9 out of 10 times at that line because he has the right type of result when he's there. Gang, whatever you're avoiding, you're not going to get better at it by avoiding it. Life is not just going to chase you down and improve you. Master those skills. Turn the ability into a skill. Put in the reps. Do it till you can't do it wrong. And watch what starts to happen to your results. This next principle is something I learned from John Maxwell. And it's called the 101% principle. And I'm just going to say the next way to get out of your own way is to apply the 101% principle. It's a good principle. It's a good principle. And it's about how to try to still connect and get along with people you may not like very well. How to still connect and get along and move forward with people that maybe they're a customer, maybe they're a family member, maybe they're a friend. And they rob your peace when you're around them because you're so focused on what you don't like. You're so focused on what they do wrong. You have this whole list of grievances against them. And what the 101% principle says is find the 1% you have in common with somebody and give it 100% of your attention. It gives you momentum. you can build a rally on that. It gives you some type of common ground. There may be 99 things you don't like. He says, look for the one. And so this is a great principle, because how many of you have people in your life right now? I'll tell you, it's a lot more peaceful too. That if your wife or your husband tells you on Thursday, oh, you know, so-and-so is coming over on Sunday, you are already pre-annoyed. How many of you have people on your life you are already pre-annoyed? Because you, and again, don't point if they're here. And you know, I call these 3 bourbon and a gummy guess. You know it will take you 3 bourbons and a gummy to get through the afternoon with this person. And so you can use that principle instead of focusing on, I don't like it when they do this, I don't like it when start looking for what you do like, what you do have, what you can build on. It gives you your peace back. It gets you some momentum. It makes the situation more tolerable. How many of you have family members? Kind of the same way. You love them, you don't necessarily like them. I got some, raise your hand. You love them, you don't really like them. It's okay, we're gonna be real today. How many of you had some, we just got through with the holidays. How many of you had relatives you hadn't seen for a while come and visit you on the holidays, and you're okay now if you don't see them for a while again? Yeah, okay, so you can use it with them, those type of people. In-laws, probably the worst. You ever see some of the in-laws, like the first time you're meeting them, and you know some of those people jumped into the gene pool while the lifeguard was not watching. He was not looking, and they got in it. And so that creates stress, and it creates tension. And so the 101% principle, what do you have in common? Even if it's that little thing, give it all you got. Invest in that. And I'll give you a fairly recent example. This happened a couple months ago. And it was someone, I can't be real specific. I'm going to have to tell this story a little different than I normally do, because my wife is in the audience today. And so there's some things I can't say, some things I got to say a little different. It's still a good story. I'm just saying if I was telling it to you at the bar later tonight, it might be a little different. And so there's a family member. I've tried. We don't have anything in common. Nothing in common. We don't like the same sports teams. We're on different sides politically. We don't have the same religious beliefs. What are you going to talk about? You know, so when you talk about the weather, can't talk about the weather. He starts talking about global warming. Can't even talk about the weather. Because it's like, you know, you global warming guys, 15 years ago, you said we'd all be wiped out. You know, it's 15 years. I'm looking around. A bunch of us made the cut, you know, so I don't know what we're going to talk about here. But what I did find out, we both enjoy nice bourbon, good bourbon. Don't judge me, I like a good, neat bourbon. You know what I mean by neat? You're not putting no garbage in it, because it's a good, high quality bourbon. So you know what, that'll give us a start. He enjoys it, I enjoy it, we can drink a little bourbon. And I had a nice Pappy Van Winkle collection. When I say Pappy Van Winkle, how many of you know what I'm talking about? Okay, all right, I didn't bring any with me, don't get too excited. I probably wouldn't give it to you if I did. I'm just saying, I don't know you. But I had a 10-year, a 12-year, a 15-year, a 20-year, a 23-year, and a 13-year-old rye. It's like I could buy that or I could put a down payment on a house. It's good stuff. So well, let's try this 10-year. I'm over to try the 10-year. I pour myself 3 fingers. Again, just in case it's the 3 bourbon and the gummy thing, I went ahead and start. Okay, so we got 3 fingers of bourbon in there. Pour them a little. Cheers. Take a sip. His question, where's the ice at? Without even realizing I said it out loud, I said, in the ladies' room, next to the tampons. Why don't you stop by? You can kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Now I'm just going to tell you, sometimes the 101% principle does not work. You will have speakers that you will hear them and they will say, do this, it works every time. This works a lot of the time, but sometimes it's trash. Sometimes it does not work. You need to know that, because the 101% principle assumes you got that 1% to give 100% to. But you got to keep trying. It keeps you in the game. It gives you a shot. What do you have? What do you like? What do you have in common? Try to move forward with that. I bet it'll work better for you than it did for me. This number 10, this is what my new book's about. I think they got the book up there somewhere, Elevate Your Excellence. There's a QR code. It'll take you right where to get it. Some of you already read it, I think. It just came out in August. It's the least business book I've written. It's the most get yourself right book I've written. Get yourself right so you can get your business right. Okay? Elevate your excellence. And one of the things I talk about, by the way, the principle to stay out of your own way is to create your own momentum. A lot of people don't understand they can create their own momentum. They don't know how to create their own momentum. People are waiting around for momentum. They're waiting for something to happen. They're waiting to get that break, someone to come and rescue them. What if they don't show up? You can create your own momentum. But I want you to start creating it, not at that first sales call, not at that first phone call. Here's the principle, my friends. Great performance begins before it begins. You start to create momentum from the minute you wake up in the morning. I call it in the book stacking wins. You start stacking wins early. You do your best. Stacking wins means you do your best at whatever you do. Elevate your excellence doesn't mean you're excellent at everything. It means you do your best with everything. No one's excellent at everything, but you can do your best. It means you make the bed. Some of you have heard me say that before. Yeah, that's a win. It means you hydrate yourself when you wake up. It means you don't leave the dishes in the sink. That's not your best. Do you guys understand that every time you do less than your best, that's a standard you establish for yourself? And even if you're establishing that standard in a lower stakes arena, you're still bringing that standard into a high stakes arena. That's your standard, and it's going to mess you up. But every time you do your best, even in a low stakes arena, that becomes your standard. Excellence is your standard, not compromise, not shortcuts, not making excuses for why you couldn't get it done. And now you're bringing that standard into those higher stakes arena, and you start to execute really well. I want you stacking 8 or 9 wins before you even start to take care of business in the morning. Listening to something positive, tuning out the negative, turning your commute into an education, listening to something inspirational, educational, motivational. Win, win, win. Having a good grooming routine. Some people, they have this funky grooming routine. They do barely enough to perfume last night's stench and make them less offensive to fewer people today than they were yesterday. That's not excellence. You're making decisions to make you feel good about you, putting something nutritious in your body. When you walk into the office, you will already have momentum. When you walk into that first call, you will already have momentum. Momentum is earned. You got to earn it. You can't wait for it. You can't be passive waiting for it. And you earn it with decisions and with disciplines. And not after you get to your business, but before you get there. So when you're there, you already got it. You already got it. You never want to go into your business looking for your first win. Some of us, we stack 8 or 9 losses. And then we go to our business, we're digging ourselves out of the hole. We leave an unmade bed, we don't hydrate, nothing nutritious. We put garbage in our mind, garbage in our body, leave dishes in the sink. Listen to the media, letting the media take a dump on our mindset on the way to that first appointment. We've stacked 8 or 9 losses, and you think you're gonna walk into that appointment and just flip a switch and excellence is gonna show up? You're way too far in the hole. Great performance begins before it begins. If you look at the definition of momentum, here's what it says: a force developed by the following of a process or a course of events. I'm talking about, that's why I said processes from the minute you wake up. You are following them. You are following that course of events. You're doing your best in everything. There's a sign above my office that says, be the boxer, not the bag. Want that to be your motto. The only way I can be the boxer when I walk in is if I'm in motion, if I've already been setting the tone, if I know what to hit, if I've got momentum. If I walk in without it, I'm going to be the bag. I'm going to be responding and reacting and being punched around by life or rejection or hardship, just trying to survive to another round. You want more momentum? Earn it. You can earn it, but not by being passive, not by being sloppy, not by doing less than your best. That actually creates a negative momentum that will hold you back. I love that momentum is in my control. How many wins are you stacking when you get up in the morning? Maybe some of you are getting in your way and you're stacking losses. I had a guy ask me one time, Dave, what is the big deal about making the bed? I said, you're missing the point. It's not the made bed. It's the person you become in the process of making it. That's the point. Someone who starts with a win. Someone who does something they feel good about themselves. Someone who's following a process early in the day. Someone who's being disciplined. Someone that does something different today than he did yesterday. And now you carry that sense into your next appointment, into your next phone call. Wrap this up. I got just about a minute left. I hope out of those 10, you found some ways to stay out of your own way if you're already in your way to get out of it. But you're going to hear a lot of messages over these days you're here. And a lot of times we buy into the old adage that, hey, knowing what the problem is half the battle. How many of you have heard somebody say that from time to time? Knowing what the problem is half the battle. Let me tell you, that is a lie. That is a lie. If I am 40 pounds overweight and I know what the problem is, I eat too much and I don't exercise, I'm still 40 pounds overweight. If knowing what the problem was half the battle, 20 pounds would fall off my rear end. And you say, well, if I get a plan together, that's half the battle. No, you can put a plan together. That's not half the battle either. So my plan is I'm going to eat X number of calories, and I'm going to go to the gym X number of days. I am still 40 pounds overweight. I have the problem. I know what it is. I have the plan. But if I go swimming, I still might have to dodge a harpoon. So knowing what the problem is, having a plan to fix the problem is not going to get you half the battle. You haven't even started the battle till you take action. My friends, let me just remind you, you've got to close the gap between knowing and doing. Life rewards action. It doesn't reward your plan. It doesn't reward your vision. It doesn't reward your good intentions, your wisdom, your experience, your knowledge. You got to get off those things and execute. When you don't feel like it, you do it anyway. You do it consistently. You got to close that gap. You got to close it, and you got to start right away. You don't need to know 100 things. You got to keep doing the next one right thing. So without action, you're going to sit here for a couple days and just be entertained and have a bunch of notes that mock you later because you didn't do anything with them. Or you can go back and you can start to do what you're writing down and execute those good intentions, and you watch where that starts to take you. Life is not going to get better until you do. You're not going to get better till you start taking action on what you learn here today. I wish you the best. I believe many of you are going to go back and do it. My friends, thanks for having me back. Keep growing and going. I hope to see you again sometime. Thank you very much. Appreciate you. Thank you.